almost evening, fret friends. We have a really exciting project on the bench. This is the second of 2 guitars sent in by a new client. And what a beautiful, beautiful thing it is. And unique is not the word. Look at the paint job on this. That is pretty amazing, yeah? Look at it, it's fantastic, isn't it? Lovely paint job, done by a auto sprayer or a car sprayer, a friend of the client. I'm going to talk to this guy about getting some paintwork done myself. It's a Squire, it's a big head Strat Squire. It has lipstick pickups, fantastic, all gold hardware, Wilkinson bridge, Wilkinson tuners. It really does look the part, yeah? It's fantastic, isn't it? And it's coming, it needs some work. It needs, well, the nut needs cutting properly because the nut's too big, it's not cut right. So we're going to cut a nut, we're going to give it a fret level, complete fret level and a reprofile, and we're going to set it up. Now, price for this is going to be round about 150 quid because a complete fret level and profile with a setup is £115. Then we have to consider in that we are also setting a tremolo and we are cutting a nut, a bone nut. We might even replace that yet. So I'm looking about 150 quid. Certainly don't want to go much beyond that. But yeah, what a great thing and what a lovely project it's going to be. This was going to be the second of 2 guitars done, but the other one is sent me as a, it's got a backbone in the neck which shouldn't be there with a truss rod loose, so we are going to try and straighten that neck. So I'm doing this one first. So maybe it's not fair to me call this a second of 2, but it certainly needs a fair bit of work this, but again, not anything too difficult. It looks fantastic. Really, it does look good. I've not plugged it in, I've not played it yet, but the nut is a mile out. He did say put a new nut in. We're not going to go and buy a new nut. That's a nice piece of bone on there. It just needs recarving. So with all the work, recarving the nut and a set of strings, I'll be looking around about £150 for this. And it really is a beautiful thing. I love these old Squire necks. Nice piece of rosewood on there. It just really looks the part. I'm not sure if he refretted this one himself. He did refret the other one, the Japanese one he's got. He might have refretted this himself. A little tiny bit of sharpness on the edge there, but nothing to worry about. I'll soften that with some sandpaper. But yeah, what a beautiful thing. So, not a lot more to be said, really. It needs a fret level, first and foremost, a nut cutting, and and a good setup. That really is it. So, come with me on this journey. It'll be the first one of the 2 I am doing. And yeah, join me for this ride. Just want to clear something up with this guitar. Now I've got the neck off. It is a Squire neck, as explained before, but I found out since I did the last part of the video that the body is actually a Japanese Fender body. So I'll just clear that up. So it's basically a Fender parts caster. I love these Squire necks, these older ones. It's fantastic. So I've got absolutely no problem with sticking these on a Fender body at all. Really, really good necks. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm just trying to get my neck straight. It's taking more turns on the truss rod than I would normally like to get this neck straight. So, to explain, we have the neck using its original bolts and neck plate bolted to a piece of 30mm thick MDF, which are drilled specifically for this job. And there you go, I've got the neck straight now. Tiny bit of relief in that middle there, but still more adjustment. I just don't want a gap at this end and in the middle. Sometimes does that right. That is beautiful. So I'm going to let that settle for a couple of minutes. I mean, that's as straight can be. Now I've just took it off a bit. A little bit of a nip there. So we're going to let that settle for a minute. While it's settling, we're going to take a fret rocker and we're going to check these frets. This has been refretted. Now, the owner of this guitar, the guy who refretted it, says he doesn't know what stage he got to. He certainly has not profiled the frets. They are quite flat on the top, so they certainly do need leveling and reprofiling. I'm just going to grab. So I've got another job on at the moment. I'm basically heating up some frets for the guitar neck. The other guitar that belongs to the same guy here. So anyway, what I'm going to do is just going to check these frets. That's high there. I checked these last night. There's about 7 high frets, which is another. On a fresh refret, only 7 high frets is phenomenal. When I refret a guitar, I've normally got about 11 or 12 frets high. I've got 2 so far. 3. It's not settled down yet. But these are pretty level. 4. Really pretty good. This guy only refretted this 5 from my videos. So he's learned how to refret from my videos, and he's done 2 refrets. I've got both the guitars here. And I tell you what, I'm impressed. That's 6. He's done really, really well. 7. 8. So I've got 8 high frets at the moment. 9. 10. 11. See, that is, to me, is normal. And that one, that's really high on that side. Listen. So we do have 12 high frets. That is consistent with me, myself, doing a refret. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to level all of these together. I'm not even going to do them separate. I'm going to be quite brutal. The pen over. I'm going to be brutal where I know frets are really high, like that 20 fret up there is really, really high. So you see what I'm doing. But I am going to be brutal on that one. I'm going to get my fret level in 5. One I got from Chris Allsop on eBay. He's a tool maker. It's a very, very nice 11 file with a handle, which helps. It's a diamond. I do believe it is, I'm not sure what grit it is, I'm thinking it's 300 grit. It seems a little bit coarse, but then again, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm so high at this end, I'm going to really give it some hammer, and I'm going to check it again and listen for this. Listen. That is brutally high. So we're going to really hammer these. Great file. Let me just show it to you. There it is. Diamond file. It might be 150 grit. It feels quite smooth, but it is quite brutal. When I first bought this, I was a little bit reluctant to use it because it's so much more brutal than my Swiss file by Valor, but this really gets the job done. And I'm concentrating on the side where it needs to work, and we're just going to keep going back and checking. And it's still high there, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. But this file will get the job done. Maintain that radius, so we don't want to go too mental. That's very, very nearly there. Still high there on that edge, so we're going to concentrate on this area. Still high on that edge, getting better there. Now I'm just going to concentrate on this one fret because a lot of work. Just keep checking. Okay, I'm going to work just on this one fret because we're moving quite a bit of material from these around it. We don't need to remove, it's not that we don't need to remove that much material, because obviously we do. But I'm just going to take my Swiss file made by Valorbe, perfectly straight. This is a number 4 cut file. It is so smooth but yet so sharp. And I love using this one when I just need to get one fret down. And it's just a matter of holding it nice and level and just concentrating on that one fret area. This will certainly get the job done. And the good thing about this file being so smooth, it doesn't scratch up all of the other frets around it so much. It makes it much easier when you're profiling to get them all polished up again. So let's go and check again. Still high on that side. Of course, this may be rising up, it may not be seated correctly, so I'm going to give it one more go. I'll be getting there now, because we're getting less resistance. You can always tell when you're close to where you need to be when you get less resistance on the file. Resistance means you've got high frets. You must always make sure that you have the flattest files when you do iron. This is called spot leveling, and this will, when you're doing a lot of frets together, it will eke out the high fret and it will remove material from the high fret. And once you stop getting resistance, like on this side, you know those frets are all level. Let's go and check again. Okay, it's just on this far corner now. And there you go, it is now level. Very pleased with that. Quite a bit of material from that one. It is seated fine, it's not springing back up, so quite pleased with that. So I'm going to do exactly the same across the length of the whole board now, using my favourite file, Swiss made, says it on there, by Valorbe. There's 2 brand names on there, there's Valorbe and there's Blardon, or Blardon, B-L-A-R-D-O-N. Beautiful, beautiful file. I've had this a couple of years. It cost me, I think it cost me £22. It's one of my favourite files ever. So smooth, yet so sharp. So, I'm going to go across the whole length of the neck, because I know I've got quite a few high frets. Quite smooth up there. Bit of resistance down this end. We're going to keep going with it. Getting pretty close to where we need to be. We'll give that a brush down. Check for level again. Yeah, very, very pleased with that. So we have a straight neck, so we're going to go across again with a pen once more, and we're going to take the radius block, or the radius sanding beam, across this now. Should be 9.5 radius. I'm going to check it before I go over it. Going to go with some 240 grit paper on a radius beam, and we're looking to remove all of this pen. I want the radius matched, so I will go and check it. I'm pretty certain it's 9.5. got to be a bit quick with this because my wife is due in any minute. The train will be in. Oh no, it won't. She'll get the train at 4:55. It's now 4:50. So I'm going to be okay. Just move the iron on this guitar over there. Right, okay. 9.5 inch radius beam. 240 grit paper on there. I'm going to check the radius before we attack it. Nine and a half inch. Let's have a look. Oh my gosh, it's not 9.5. It's 7.25. That is a surprise. I expected it to be 9.5. Let's have a look. 7.25. I do not have a 7.25 with sandpaper on there, so yep. Oh my gosh, 7.25 radius. Who would have thought it? It's actually tighter than 7.25. It is about probably near a 6 inch. This fingerboard should have been re-radiused before we refretted it. These frets are about a 6 inch radius. There's a gap at each end. So I would have, before I fretted this, I would have re-radiused that whole board. It's not going to cause any problems because I'm just going to re-radius it. I'm going to actually set the frets at 7.25. Just means I've got to do it. Hopefully I've got a block. That's 14. With some sandpaper on there, but it's already at 7.25. 7.25. We do have some 400 grit on there. I'm going to have to go with 400 for now. So let's see where we are. The good thing about that is it's removed all of the pen in that many strokes. That means that these frets have actually gone in quite well. Okay, that is very, very pleasing because that could have gone a bit tits up. Give it a brush. I hate 7.25. I don't hate 7.25 radius next, but I don't see the point. I really don't. Give me 9.5. 7.25 is just pathetic. So let's see where we are. We've certainly got these frets level because we're moving to because they're flat across the top now. There you can see what I'm doing. Right, I'm going to grab get some pen over there again. We do have the frets level. I'm going to check the radius with a radius gauge in a minute. I'm going to go across with a fret rocker. And if I'm happy that the frets are level with a fret rocker, I'm just going to give it one swipe with that 7.25 radius. If it removes all the pen, I'll be happy that the frets are exactly where I need them to be and we can get them reprofiled. Something else I've got to do as well, something I notice needs doing, these edges are sticking out ever so slightly. We're going to get a sanding block on there with some 400 grit and we're going to soften them off, sticking out just a little bit. So anyway, let's have a look. Check the radius. 7.25. Check a fret. Beautiful. Yep, they're fine. Don't think the camera will pick up from where you are, but 7.25 radius. Look at that. Pretty good to me. It's actually, these are slightly over radius. This is nearer 6.5 or 6, but anyway, nothing I can do about that. He didn't re-radius the fingerboard. So we're going to just check for level along the whole length of the neck. Yep. Quite happy with these. I'm using my trusty GMI fret rocker. After all the trouble I had with fret rockers last year, I've been buying from GMI for 5 or 6 years and I didn't really know the guy that made these tools, but I got talking to him, his name's Harris, Really nice guy, and he showed me how he made his tools, and I trust him implicitly. And I buy tools from him. Now this is the best fret rocker I've ever owned. It is the most level I've ever owned. More level than the Stumac one I had that they replaced, but because of some faffing about with customs and everything, I rejected it. So the Stumac one was out of kilter anyway. And I've had many others. Guitar Tools International, crap. Who else did I buy from? Can't remember. I bought quite a few of them, they're all rubbish, but this one from GMI. Can I get GMI on eBay? This is Precision Straight, it's fantastic. I also now get my other tools from him. Notched straight edge. I've seen him make these. He makes these probably as straight as anything else on the planet. Nice big thick piece of aluminium. He gifted me this because my video saying how good his GMI fret rockers were sold him a lot of fret rockers. So he says, look, I'm going to send you a leveling. If you need a not straight edge, I'll send you one gratis, free. And he's also going to do me other tools. He's going to do me a good price on them. I'm going to buy the tools from him and from him only. But anyway, those frets are level. They are correctly radiused, or as correctly radiused as they're going to be. I'm going to go across, I'm going to give it one sweep. And hopefully all the pen is gone. And look at that. All of the pen is gone. Give it one more just for good measure. Turn it round, give it one the other way. And that's it. Those frets are ready for recrowding. Beautiful. So level frets, job's a good one. I'm going to get the fingerboard all taped up. Get out, you bitch. This sometimes does stick, and it has stuck. There you go, we're out. Just check the level again. Got to get the fingerboard all taped up, ready to re-profile or recrown these frets. By recrown, I mean, because I've leveled them now, they're all flat like that across that way, and we need to rebuild that crown. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I need to tape everything up first before I do that. So I'm going to go and get that done off camera. One thing I could do before I do that is I can take a sanding block. There you go. Sanding block, big piece of rubber there with some 400 grit sandpaper on there. And we can just soften these edges of these beveled frets just by down the edge there. And this is going to remove, you see how I'm not right up against the edge, I'm just going slightly at an angle, and this is going to remove any sharp edges. Really simple, doesn't take long, a few strokes. And that takes away all those sharp edges are now gone. Same again this side. And there you go. All those sharp edges are now gone. We're going to round them off anyway with a file when we come to profiling. So, like I say, I'm going to get this all taped up, ready for profiling those frets. But they're level, really happy with that. I will bring you back in soon. Hey guys, because time is short with me working two jobs, I've already nipped on, and after leveling these frets, I've already recrowned them. And I'm going to show you how I do it, even though I've already done it. I'm going to show two frets. And these are already done, and what we're looking for is a nice thin line down the centre. Now when we level these, we flatten them that way, and we need to rebuild that crown each side. It's really easy nowadays with the tools we've got at our disposal. And my favourite tool for doing this job is my Stumac Z file. It's got two cuts, long one side, short the other, and I turn it over 180 degrees. It's got short one side and long the other, so it opposes. But what this file does is it does not hit the top of the fret. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. I've penned two frets up. It's just a matter of going across one way, going across the other way, and you should be able to see a nice thin black line down the centre. We always clean the file after doing a fret. And once that's done, we'll take a profiling file. This is my favourite one. Don't remember where I got it. So I think I got it from Tone Tech Luthier Supplies. It already has concave cut in there, and it's all we're doing is just to round off the edges and just remove any burrs or any unevenness we've got. We won't have any unevenness because the StuMat file is a diamond file, but there you go. And I'm hoping you can see a lovely thin black line down the centre of the fret. What that means is we've not touched the top of the fret, which means we've not lost any height, which is going to keep the level across the whole length of the neck. Yep, the fret is beautifully clear. I'm going to show one more. Turn 180. Beautiful, nice thin black line, probably 0.3, 0.4, about 0.4 millimeters wide. Get up to half. Blow away any rubbish we've got there, and it's just a matter of, there you go. And to show that we've not lost any height, we'll check for rock, and those frets are perfectly level. I've done the whole neck, so we are now ready to go and polish these frets. Once they're polished, we can get the neck back on the guitar, get some strings on it, go and do the electrics and get it all done. I'm thinking this one will be done today. But the other one, well, you'll see in the other video, I've got two necks from this guy, and one of them having a problem with the other neck. It's not going very well at all because the neck is not straight. So you see that in the other video. But I'll certainly get this one done for the weekend. Moving on, my favourite thing. No, it isn't. Fret polishing is not my favourite thing at all. But I do find it quite enjoyable, especially when I've got time to do it. And sometimes you're doing, not so much doing it in a rush, but you're thinking, oh, I've got to do fret polishing. But you know, it's a job that has to be done. It's not my most enjoyable part of the process, but it is very rewarding once you've got the frets polished. And so I'm going to explain how we do it. We have 6 different grits of sandpaper, starting at 600, going through the grits to 600, 800, 1000, should be 1200, 1500. I do mark them. There you go. And 2000 grit, blah 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 blah. Now I've already gone over with some 400 grit, and what I do with the 400 grit is I remove the main scratches where we've leveled the frets, and we've got that thin black line down the centre, what you saw with the pen. But what I do is I remove it, because where they've been scratched that way, I remove it with some 400 grit, like so. There is some 400 grit. And what I also do then is, after I've done that, I round over the fret edges, the bevels. And it's a lot easier to do when you've got the neck in a vice, because you've got more room to work. But this is basically what I do. And this is just removing those rough edges. You only don't want to do this when it's taped up, otherwise you're going to scratch the finish. But I've already been down the bevels with some sandpaper on a block, because they were sticking out just a little. And I guarantee that when I've finished sanding these edges with this 400 grit, you won't feel these frets. So, like I say, I've already got over the frets with 400 grit. Now I'm doing these beveled edges. Once that's done, I'm going to go with the 6 grits from 600 through to 2000, and we're going to be removing the scratches and bringing the frets to a shine. But they're going to be polishing that way. And the frets are going to be wonderful once that's done. When that's all finished, because the neck is off the guitar, I will finish it off with some super fine steel wool. Superfine being the grade 0000 grade, 4 zeros. It's the finest you can get. It'll bring up to a beautiful shine. Something I always like to do, I like to use steel wool when the neck is off of the guitar. I sometimes do it when it's a set neck or a glued in neck, but not always. But you need to make sure that you tape up the pickups so you don't get any filings in there. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with this. I'm going to turn it around, get the other side done. Once that's done, I'm going to go through the 6 grits, and I'll come back when we're at the stage where we are on the steel wool. It's going to take me a good few hours this. If I really dab it, I could get it done in probably hour and a half. If I really push it, it depends what I'm up to. But anyway, I will certainly bring you back and you can see the progress. Just finishing up these frets, about 6 more to do. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, this lot from here down are all been polished. We're doing 6 grits of paper or 7 grits of paper, and we're now going with the finest grade steel wool. It's just about going straight over the top and in at the corners each side. You can just pinch it over the top, you're going to get into the corners anyway, and they are coming up beautiful. Because they're already polished with the paper, it takes nothing to bring them up to this beautiful shine. Look at that, they look fantastic. I've already gone, I'll do the edges first and it puts scratches in that way just on the edges, but then we come across this and it removes all of those tiny scratches we've got on the edge, so the whole fret is being polished. And they look wonderful. And the best thing about this job is peeling off the tape, because you get to see how wonderful the frets look. That's one. Such a satisfying job, this, especially when you peeled off the tape, you get to see the fruits of your labour, and it's just fantastic. So try and find a bit to, I normally set a bit of tape, like so. Just get that out of the way, and you're going to get to see that's what I was after, just getting up that end there. And now you see, this is why we put tape down the edge, because it means we can lift it up and we can remove all this tape really easily, like so. Again, either side makes no difference, and that's why we tape the sides, because we get all the tape off really easily, look. And that is beautiful. And there's all of the tape off, and those frets look fantastic. Bring it a little bit closer. Look at those. Look at the shine on those frets. Beautiful. I don't even need to check the level because I know the level. And what we're going to do now is, before we fit a knot, we're just going to get some lemon oil on there. Basically mineral oil with some lemon essence to make it smell nice, specially formulated for guitar necks, ebony, half ferro, rosewood, the darker woods, and I've got far too much on there, but that's great because that's going to soak in. It'll raise any dirt to the surface. We're going to let that soak 10-15 minutes, let that do its stuff, and I'll come and wipe it off. Get rid of all the crap off the fingerboard. It'll be ready to install a new nut. So I'm now preparing to fit the nut, and the nut fits well, but it is too wide and it certainly is too high. It's a nice piece of bone, unbleached, which I like. This came with the guitar. It's as good as anything I've got, if not better. Really, really nice. Pre-slotted, but I'm probably going to change where those slots exactly are, because like I say, this nut is a bit wider than the neck. You'll notice that I've got the tuners back on and the string trees, and you'll notice also, well, you don't want to turn it around, is I always mark up where the tuners come out from. E, A, D, G, B, E, top E. That way they go back in exactly the same place. Not that these are staggered, so it wouldn't have made a difference, you just I like to put them back where they were. So, ready to carve the nut. I'm going to carve it off camera. I'm going to get the edges right. I'm not too bothered about the height of the nut. I know it's far too high. I'm not bothered about that at all at this moment in time. It's just about getting the width right, because if I get the width right I can get it glued in and we can do the finished rest of the carving while it is on the guitar. So we're now getting very close to where we need to be. I've talked to James. He doesn't want the tremolo, he won't use the tremolo, so we're setting that up as a stop tail, or not a non-moving tremolo. We're going to block it right back. I'm at the moment cutting the nut. Now, you see I've got strings on, but I've put some more wraps than I normally would around the poles, because I'm going to have to slacken them off in a bit to get the nut cut properly. And the thing with that is, that's why I don't like locking tuners, you slacken them off, they tend to snap where the string goes in the hole where it's tightened. So what I've done is I've given them more of a wrap, so I can basically pull more string through later when I've loosened them again, and then they're not going to snap when I tighten them up or when I tune the guitar in. So what I've done is, with a feeler gauge, I'm measuring the height between, or the gap between the top of the fret and the bottom of the string, and at this side we're 0.3mm, at this side 0.2mm. We could go lower, but that's well low enough so that when we bar an F chord or an F sharp or a G, we're not going to sharpen the note. Certainly are low enough right there. I'm just going to tidy up these fret slots, and first I've worked the fret slots with my old Hosco files. We were pretty good, they're sharp, so they get you close to where you want to be, but on the higher strings, the 10 and the 13, we cut a V more than we cut a round. So now I've cut rough with those files, I'm going to go to this file set, the Uo Chikyu brand. Bought this one Japan, cost me about 100 quid. Not overly impressed with them, I will be honest. I don't think they stay sharp, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, I'm going to get as close as I can to the sizes I want. So we've got 10, 13, 17, that's correct. We don't have a 26, we have a 24, we have a 36 and we have a 46. So that's the right set, or as close as we can get. What we're going to do is we're going to measure again each string, or each string height. So we're looking at about 0.3 on this one, less than 0.3 there, just under 0.25 there, just under 0.25 there, about 0.2 there, between 0.2 and 0.25 there. So getting gradually lower. So let's look for 0.3. Well, and we're going to cut these with the right files in a minute. So a little bit lower than I normally would have it, but still fine. So I'm going to take the 46, and all I'm going to do with this is just make sure, see, that's hardly cutting, but we've got a nice uniform slot there, and that one's done. Very happy with that. Next one, 36. Now we're going to measure this one, should just buzz. Perfect, and we're just going to cut these slots, get them nice and rounded off. Not really cutting in, just widening them a little. If we drop that string in there. Measure again. Beautiful. I'm going to drop down now to 0.25 for the middle two strings. I know when I'm getting that little bit of buzz, I'm just exactly where I need to be. So this one, we don't have a 26, we do have a 24, which is close. But I'll flare it slightly left and right, like so. And again, not cutting any depth, just rounding it off. Beautiful, like that. And again, get a bit more buzz on this one. Take the 17. I do need to cut this one a little bit deeper, so I'm going to go a little bit more gung-ho with that. Beautiful, and the last two, 0.2 mil, slightly less, 0.15. I could go down to 0.15 and probably 0.2 up here. Again, 13, don't need to cut any more depth, just need to make sure that the slot is nice and rounded. Now that is twanging a little bit, that means I've not cut the slot smoothly enough. Means it's too high on one side and we get that little sitar type sound. So I'm just going to go back in. Just move it off and that should now be fine. last one with the 10. Again, not cutting it deeper, just making sure we've got a nice smooth slot there. So that is now all done. I'm going to clean my files off camera in a minute. I'm going to check the action again at the 12th fret. I've already got enough relief in there. I've measured the relief at 0.2 millimeters under the 7th fret, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to get the height set up at 12th fret. We're looking for 1.75 here, 1.5 there, millimeters that is. Once that's done, we're going to look at the radius of the strings. Once we've got all the radius set, the height at the 12th fret done, we can then look at loosening the strings again and recarving that knot, getting it right down to where we need it to be, because these slots are deep, we don't need them that deep, so we're going to recarve the knot again. It's why I left excess string, so I can pull more string through and it's not going to be actually tightening up on a weak point, because that will definitely cause the strings to snap. So, back with an update shortly. So, knot slots are cut. I've set the height of the strings above the 12th fret. I've set the amount of relief I want in the neck, and I've come down to the saddles and I've re-radiused the saddles. Now we have a 7¼ inch radius fingerboard, but we still radius the saddles to a 9½ inch radius. I don't know why, it's just what is done. If you radius it to 7½, you're going to be, your strings are going to be so difficult to play, so you do still set them to a 9½ radius. And there we go, 9½ radius there. Radius gauge, put it under the strings, and each of these strings at the bridge will be resting right on the top. Once we've got two outside ones set, we've got the other ones high, and we drop them again, drop them down, so they're resting on the top of the radius gauge. So that's all done. I've got the guitar more or less tuned in. But what I need to do now is set the intonation, and I've not checked the intonation, so we're going to just have a look, see where we need to be. And we may have to move the saddles forwards or backwards depending on the note at the 12th fret. So open string, 12-string harmonic, and the fretted note. Fret note seems a little bit sharp. That's good. I'm just going to check the note and the fretted. That's good. Great, the intonation is spot on. It means the person who set this guitar up before knows what they were doing and they have it set up. So all I need to do now is recarve the nut. So what we're going to do is, and this is the reason you'll see that I left excess, I put some wraps around the posts on the strings, because when I loosen the strings, if I tighten them again, you can more or less guarantee they're going to snap right on the corner where the lock comes out. So it's why I've left extra on the strings, and we can pull more string through and we'll be locking down again on a fresh piece of string. That's why I do that. So I'm going to crack on with that. I'm going to recarve a knot. Once that's done, I'm going to come back and we're going to tie this video up and the guitar will be ready to go. So I'm not doing anything major here, just carving the top of the nut. I've used a couple of files, in fact I've got 3 files out. I use this one because it's the sharpest file I've got, or it's the sharpest coarse file I've got. I've also got another one here, but not quite as, doesn't cut quite as nice. And this one will remove quite a bit of material. So I like to use this one, and I will try and save some of this bone dust because I've got a bag full and it's good for future. Now, if you ever want to fill in any slots, I mean, there is a trick where you can use baking powder and super glue, or baking soda and super glue. It's great for filling. If you carve too deep, it will fill a slot no problem. It'll be as hard as the bone itself. Really, really good. So it's good to save some of these filings or shavings or whatever you want to call them. go in my little magic box down here, see what we've got. I've actually got a bag of this stuff mixed up with the Graphtec tusk type stuff, so it's bone and same stuff to make those nuts out of. That's a little bag full there. You're out walking around this in your pocket, wouldn't you? But yeah, it's good to just save some of that. Very quite handy in the future. Okay, not too bad. Can take a lot more out of the middle, which is brilliant. Smells. Bone stinks when you carve in bone. That's why I know it's bone. It's disgusting. Okay, we're getting closer to where we want to be. That's not so bad. Can still go quite a lot here as well. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. When it comes to these corners, by the way, I will roll over the edges like so, so it'll be nice and neat once it's all done. I'm going to carry on doing this, and I'll see you at the end of the video. There we are, guys, we are all done, and what a fabulous looking guitar. And don't be put off by that being a Squire neck. That is a fantastic neck. The body, Fender, Japanese Fender Strat body, sprayed up by, I can't remember the name of the guy who sprayed it up, but I'm going to contact him because I may need some paint doing in the future. Nut, I've just finished cutting the nut. I've cut the nut lovely. The strings are spaced perfectly top and bottom. Just have a look. Have a look, and there you go. There's the nut, hand carved by my good self. And this came in, it really needed the frets leveling and profiling, which I've done. Not only that, I've also softened the edges of the frets because they were sticking out into your hand. I've softened those up as well, sanded all these areas all the way down. So we're giving a complete fret profile. I've just checked over all the electrics and everything. The electrics are working fine. Pickups are okay. Guitar works absolutely fine. Sounds really nice through my Fender Blues Deluxe. And what a beautiful looking thing. I really think though that gold fret wire would really set this off. Yeah, so Evo gold fret wire by Jessica on there. That should really set it off. It's something the owner might want to consider in the future. I'm really pleased with that knot. Lovely, lovely bone knot, and it goes with the it just ties in with the gold on that. I just think it's going to look fantastic with gold fret wire. It's look brilliant. So there you go. It is a parts caster. The client is not worried about having Squire on the headstock. I love these Squire necks with the big headstock. I've got one exactly the same, except the Squire's been sanded off. But yeah, I'll be using that in a project in the future. But there you go. What a lovely guitar. It looks fantastic. It now plays fantastic. The frets are bang on. And it's all done, so we'll move on to the next one. And oddly, I'm doing another one for the same guy, different guitar, different job. So that is it. So just before I go, remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17 is the best place to see what I do. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. You can also go check fretfriend.co.uk. Even though that website's not finished, check there if you want. But that is it. I am Victor. I am your fret friend. Until the next time, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next one.